it's release day, guys. Go listen to my single Here and Now right now on all music streaming platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, you name it. Go watch the music video on YouTube. Everything's at Spoken Life Music. Go look at that, share, comment with friends. Let me know what you guys think of it. Add it to a Spotify playlist if you want. I have a lot more music coming up, and I would love to see what you guys think of it. It's been a long overdue year of trying to produce this thing, so I'm so happy to get this finally out. Thank you guys once again.
What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One Set.
So, man, in honor of this being the release day for my new single, this is coming out. Obviously, we're recording this, on the Monday night of Memorial Day. Just quick little thing. We wanted to say happy Memorial Day to everybody. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day. Thank you to the troops. Thank you to everybody who sacrificed their lives to, so we can be able to have these fun days around and not have to worry about, all the chaotic things that are happening around in the world today. I'm not good with words when it comes to those things, but, shout out to the troops and the ones that really lay their life on the line, just make sure that our lives are, happy day in and day out for the sacrifices that they do. So, thank you to all the troops out there who watch if they do or not, thank you all to the troops out there, man. But I was telling Jim right before we hit the record button, I was going to save this till the end of the podcast, but I was like, dude, we got to pull an audible. I got to do this right now. So, again, in honor of the release day of my new single, we are going to do a quick watch along of my music video for the song. And
Nice.
I've been anticipating to show this to Jim, and I was going to wait to, do it on the actual Friday to let him see it for himself, give it to me. But dude, Jim is my best friend. I need to see this reaction in real time.
Nice. This is good. And especially are you going to clip this into the episode itself? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, that would be solid. And it's good that we're I'm glad that you decided to do this in the intro, like at the beginning, because like I said, we have some things to talk about, but let's get our audience a peek at this video that you've been telling me about for weeks and weeks on end, about how excited and how much you couldn't wait to share this, not just even with me, but with everyone. So thank you I get to see this 4 days before because you're launching it on the day of with the single, right?
I'm launching it on the day of the release. Yes.
Yeah. So today, for everyone that's tuning in, or if you're tuning in on Friday, June 2nd, if not, if you're watching after it is out there. So, Anthony, you'll have the link, I guess, in the description for everyone to check it out themselves.
Yes.
Or it's going to play literally right here in the episode, before future, watching back to the music video. Now, is it just going to be on YouTube, or are you going to have it posted somewhere else?
For right now, it's going to be on YouTube, unless there's.
Okay.
I'll have it on my website, but it'll be through YouTube. I'll just have the YouTube link pasted onto my website, so you guys can check it out on spokenlifemusic.com, YouTube. Again, you guys can stream it on all music platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, Pandora, any music platform you guys usually use, it's most likely on there. Search Spoken Life Here and Now. Send me a comment, share it out with a friend, family, all the love and support in the first week of of release like this within the first weekend really helps the song, get put out to a bunch of more people. So the emphasis on the first couple days of the plays are really, really crucial for a song like this. So my goal is to really try to hit over 500 plays and hit that 1,000 plays mark within the first week. So that's my goal. I've never had a goal like that, but my goal is between 500 and 1,000 for the first week. So, it's a big goal for me. I had a small goal for the pre-saves, and thank you for everybody who pre-saved. I hit that goal. And so I'm taking a leap on this big goal for trying to get, at least 500 to 1,000 in the first week of the release. So let's do it, baby.
Very cool. I tried to pull it up on my phone, and sometimes when you send like YouTube links through Messenger and you try to open it, like it won't let you like turn it, and it's not the lock switch on the phone. It's like
right.
It's through like either Messenger, through YouTube, and like when you go to expand it, it just blacks out the rest of the screen, but keeps it like small. So I actually just got it pulled up on my laptop, so I have it full screen ready to go when you're ready to do this.
Cool. Yeah, so before we do that, just a little background to it. So this was all shot on an iPhone. All these shots were, shot on iPhone. My buddy Gil, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying his name, so we don't have to bleep that out. Big shout out to my friend Gil, who helped me film this. He filmed and did a lot of photo shoots for a lot of my bands back then. So I called him up one day. I had a little bit of time on my hands and said, hey, do you have time to shoot this music video that I'm thinking of? Because, I don't have money for big productions. I didn't want to put a lot of money into a big production for a music video. So I'm like, I'm always shooting in this little corner. So I filled out a space in my basement, and I wanted to, have this full band setting. And shouts out to a guy named Alex Milton. I'll have to look that up again, but he does a lot of cover band videos, and he usually shoots a lot of different scenes with him playing drums, playing guitar, and singing. It's all him, but playing all the different instruments by himself. So that was the inspiration for this one. So again, without further ado, this is the music video for Here and Now, and this shouldn't get copyrighted because it's my stuff, so it shouldn't get we shouldn't get a copyright strike for this. But yeah,
seriously. Give me Anth, give me the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and let's do this.
All right, man.
And after that at the top of your lungs. Sing this, you'll be right here in my arms. You'll be right here in my arms. Sing this at the top of your lungs. Sing this, I won't leave you here tonight. You'll be right here in my arms. For here and now, the stars are shining bright. For you and I, the stars are shining bright for you and I tonight. I don't even know why I'm wearing a hat for this. We'll see. Oh well, I'll put it in.
The bloopers at the
I have to put a couple bloopers at the end because when
Yeah.
we were doing the whole thing, we had those mess ups. I'm like, dude, keep them because we have to put like bloopers at the end.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. Okay.
Dude,
So
can I say I don't get too emotional on this podcast, but watching that back, I haven't watched the full thing back in a while. I literally had tears in my eyes like watching that because I think when I was even like doing it when I was editing everything, I'm like, wow, this thing is like, you know, like when you take a project, and I'm sure again you can see how that, like when you see something that comes to vision from your head and then you put it down into paper and then you see our creation out in the open, you're just like, wow. And it's everything that you wanted it to be, everything, like everything that you had in your head was like what you envisioned. And like I've never done a music video like that, and I can't be any more proud of how that turned out.
yeah, and as you should be, man. And again, it's like you said, you're doing something that you haven't ever done before, and that's like part of life. Is not always doing the same stuff. We're supposed to be challenging ourselves to not like overly stressing or like overwhelming ourselves, but like, hey, this is something that I want to try to do. Put your mind to it. Like, utilize any resources that you can get your hands on to help make it the best you can make it, and go from there. Right? I remember a not a dance, but like a promo video that I made like 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago. It was my first, like, I used iMovie and just took clips and chopped it up, but I had a specific like song in mind, and I was like, and the song that I had, there were so many like intricate, detailed accents in the music, and I was just like, okay, on this hit, I want to utilize like this little frame right here, and I think I pulled an all-nighter, and just because once I got into it, I was like, I just want to keep going until I get it done, until I can like get it right. I think I spent like 7 or 8 hours doing it. And when I was done, it was like morning, and my mom had just woken up, and I was like, check this out. And I played it for her, and she watched it and was like, who did that? Like, who made that video? I was like, I did that. Right. And she was like, no, you didn't. I was like, yeah, I just stayed up all night. And she's like, and you've never done anything like that before? I was like, no, I like wanted to try, and if I can find the raw footage of that, I'll have to send it to you because I did post it to YouTube and it got
Yeah.
copyright strict. It was like a Michael Jackson remix, so it didn't last more than like
Gotcha.
a couple weeks or a month. Like, and this was, like I said,
Yeah.
10 and a half years ago. They weren't striking stuff immediately like they're on it now. Usually
Yeah.
it took
like you
it
can't
took
even
a little bit of
upload
time.
something now.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I totally understand because like about being proud about doing something that you never done and watching it, like you have this idea and then you bring it to fruition and you're like, wow, like my mind like creatively took the steps to make it work out like that. So if I can react to your video now, since no, it's all good. I'm like, I am so happy for you that you are proud on the level that you are. Because yeah, like there are dance routines that I've built before where it's a long time coming of building the project, and then
Yeah.
first seeing it back or first seeing it on stage or first seeing it back, like the footage of it and being like, and not from like a dissecting point, because like honestly I'm really, because I've been in like the field of like watching and dissecting stuff like so
Mhm.
much, I'm like, because that's the first time I heard the song too, so I was like half trying to catch like the vibe of the song but also half like watching like the camera cuts and like the angles that you were using, and like if you were going from Drummer Anthony, who was like probably my favorite just because I've never seen you on a drum set before.
Yeah.
So I've seen you sing, I've seen you play electric guitar. I don't know if I've seen you play bass before.
No.
But I know you can and like are clearly capable.
Mhm.
So seeing you rocking out in the
I
drums,
make it look pretty well. So.
yeah, I just kept cracking a smile. I'm like, look at Anthony on the drums. It's just, and I
Yeah,
know
man.
that you, I know that,
The drums were definitely the hardest part of it because I had to, you know, definitely my only thing was like trying to make sure I got all the fills pretty on point because, I made them without really, looking at the drum set in general. But I mean, I'm a drummer, but I'm not a drummer at heart. But I know what a drummer is capable of hitting and what a drummer is impossible of doing, especially when you're, because I did all of the drums on that drum kit, which is right here.
right
I
there.
did
Yeah.
all the recording on that so that I did it for that reason, so that I wouldn't, when I programmed the drums, that it wouldn't sound like impossible for a drummer to do a fill or something. So any type of fill I did was something that a real drummer would do.
Sure.
But, actually putting it on video, that's the most amount of time we took was the drums and then the bass, then the guitar, leads and everything, because everything else was cake after that. So I wanted to make sure I did the hardest parts first, and then everything else kind of just fell right into it. But it couldn't have came out like any better.
Yeah. I, outside of like smiling at Drummer Anthony, which I've known because I've been in your basement. I've seen the drum kit before, and I think the first time I saw it, I was like, "Whoa, you play drums?" You're like, "Yeah, sometimes." You're like, "I have this as a tool if I, yeah." So I'm like, nice. So to see you in action on it, and I know you were like trying to sync up with the audio, right?
Yeah. So we would have the song playing in the background, and then so I would be playing with it. So then when I went into video editing, all I would do is just have to like clip everything to the actual audio. So it was very, very easy to just do that.
Sure. Yeah. Little like Eddie Murphy, Dr. Doolittle, and Mike Myers, Austin Powers,
Yeah.
where like you're playing all the parts, right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hercules,
It-
Hercules, Hercules.
yes, dude. Yeah, I think that the camera switches were done really well. It wasn't like overly done, but it didn't
Yeah.
stay in one shot for it like longer, like it overstayed its welcome kind of thing. I thought that the transition
Right.
times were done like really well, and I thought, like the guitar solo part where you had the angle coming up at the guitar, I was like, that's appropriate and super fitting. I mean, you've been playing guitar longer than you've been doing anything else. So
Yeah.
like to have that solo in there is really nice. I'm glad that you did that, because it speaks to you, which is important because this is your creation here, right? Not your cover rendition of this thing that's already been done before. The vocals sound
And that solo was like
good,
my
and
time to shine for it, like
Yeah.
and not to cut you off, but like
no,
that was like
totally.
in the video, like that's something like when me and Gil were in the moment of it, I'm like, this is like the part of the song where like this is like the time to like shine. This is the guitar solo. Like I'm not a guitar soloist person, so I wanted this to really emphasize like, a part of the song to be like, okay, we're switching into, Guitar Hero Legend mode. This is your
Yeah.
time to be like, and just let yourself go. And I definitely think I captured myself just feeling like I was having fun playing instead of like trying to like play to like make sure I hit everything right, but just making sure I looked like I was having fun and really getting into it. So I hope when people look at the physical act of the video, they can see the energy that I put off, and it not just being like a standalone person just kind of going through the motions, but you can feel the emotion, you can feel everything that's coming through the video. So
Yeah, I mean, you can't fake heart and passion, right? So if that's evident, and like you said, and I picked up on it not just because of the the guitar angle, the camera angle coming up at the guitar. I
Yeah.
definitely felt like you were like going in that moment, and not to like technically execute it perfectly or as best as you can. It was,
Yeah.
like you said, not just you having fun, but it came from here, right? And it's
Yeah.
something that we performers kind of look for all the time in anyone on stage, whether they're playing an instrument, singing, dancing, if they're performing solo, if they're performing as a team. And I mean, we're going to talk about the basketball game in a little bit. You can tell when the teams are teams, and they're not just executing because
Yeah.
they know that they're good at what they do. You can tell when there's a certain rhythm that runs from the heart across the team itself, because you can just see how they connect together, and it's like I said, we'll get into the basketball stuff later, but watching a musician on stage, it's like you can tell when they're dialed in just because they're really good at what they do versus they love
Yeah.
what they do, right? And there's a lot of dancers that it's the same thing. You can tell based on, I mean, if they're technically very sound and really good, you can tell by how they are demonstrating what they're doing. If it's like, oh, they're literally not going through the motions, but they're executing everything just because they train themselves to be technically capable versus they're displaying it in a way that you can tell they live for it, and that it's just a different. It's not everyone can see it, but a lot of people can see it. Even people that don't have the trained eye or like understand it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think you did great in the video. I'm a little biased because I know how much you've put yourself into this and how many years you've been a musician, right? An artist, and really and I think the artist part is really starting to come through, because you're not just like, okay, I'm recording sounds on these instruments and I'm compiling them together to make a composition, like a final product kind of thing. Like, you're really taking the time. And I know you've been working on this song for like a year, I think, right? Like, I think the last time I asked you, I was like, start to finish, like,
Yeah.
how long ago did you start really like thinking about this song? And you were like, probably close to a year ago. And I was like, whoa, that's the thing though, is like,
Mm-hmm.
there's gotta be, if you're just writing stuff all the time and putting it out there in a matter of a couple weeks, it's like you're doing it just because you know that you can quickly produce a thing, right? And not knocking
Right.
people that are capable of doing that and they do that on a regular, and they're just like, new content, new content, new content, new content.
Mm-hmm.
When you run, and I used to think about this growing up, where like, you know, pick any of your favorite artists through middle school and high school, that like they would drop a new CD every year to 15, 18 months. And then you'd run into a band that
Right.
would take 2 years or 3 years before they're releasing their next album. And I'd always be like, why'd they wait so long? And then I grew up a little bit and I figured it out, that it's like they're either out there living their lives saying, okay, I don't need to chase the money to just put out more stuff. I think that they just like take the time to get inspired about, like, now what do I want to talk about? What do I want to share? And how do I want it to drive and motivate,
Mm-hmm.
this next project? And that's something you and I have talked about, where you don't rush your creativity and you're like, if I want to take a year on this one song, I'm going to do it. Um,
Yeah.
so, congratulations. I know this is coming out on the day of. I just got to listen and see the video together for the first time. So, that being said, I can't wait to take a listen to it. Like I'll probably just play the YouTube video back and not watch it for the visuals, and just catch a listen so that I can appreciate it audibly. And then
Yeah.
I'll watch it again, and yeah, kind of like really not heavily dissect, but it's something that I do. It's like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
like instead of me being surprised for the first time, I'll kind of watch it back and be like, okay, what really is a standout solid thing, solid moment, or like what transitions like really really worked. um and you and I, I'll while you're at work one day this week, or every day this week when you're not super super busy, um
Yeah.
I'll be running you some feedback for the next few days. And when I say the next few days, I mean it's Monday, May 29th. So between now and when this actually comes out, we'll be talking a good bit about this. And bro, all the love to you. Thank
Right.
you so much for sharing with me ahead of time. And I hope that everyone else enjoys it as much as I did. So great job. Proud of you. For real.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Always.
Like I said, I haven't been this passionate about a song in a long time. I felt like this is something that like I right now don't have any things to say about, like, oh, I probably should have spent more time recording this, or I probably should have spent a little more time mixing this little thing or mastering that. I did this to the 10th degree of the ability that I have and the workspace that I have in my home studio. So I'm trying to learn how to do a lot of this on my own, and not really go to any specific other producers and spend more money, because I feel if I can spend hundreds of money, hundreds of
hundreds
thousands
of money.
dollars
Yeah.
to hundreds of money. I can spend hundreds of money
That
going to different studios, and it can be polished and really great. But then I feel if the music If the music is good, people will listen to it no matter how good the quality is. You know, as long as it's not like, really, really like audibly bad. But if you have a decent song and it's, not like it's over a demo ish type of sound, people are going to listen to it. And
Well,
the regular listener is not going to really matter, is not going to mind if it was done in a $10,000 studio or if it was done in a home recording. That, I mean, look at Billie Eilish. They just did everything from Logic, and then they did everything from there, and now she's touring the world. So
mhm.
I think if you have good songs, the quality of your song, and again, I emphasize it can't be bad quality. It has to be of a decent over demo quality, but it doesn't have to be a professionally done song. If you have a decent sounding demo, people will listen to it. And then, then that's when, if you get the time later on to, go back into an actual studio if you want and then re-record it, that's where you go. So, again, thank you, bro, for all the, feedback and comments for it. Really appreciate it. And I hope you guys love it just as much as I took the time to, really. I put my all into this one, and especially the music video. I wanted to make sure that I put enough emphasis into each different instrument of myself, so I wasn't paying favor to just one in each. So I feel like you get an equal mix of drums, bass, guitar, lead, singing, and everything. I wanted to play each of them all in their own space, and like, did I have enough of me playing the drums? Did I have enough of me playing this and playing that? Like, I wanted to make sure everything was done equally, and I think I hit it pretty good. So
Yeah, I mean, just one time watching it, and like I said, I was like part dissecting it, and I would be able to catch if like one shot was oversaturating the rest of them. The guitar solo part, I mean, that is its own thing and in its own right. Like, I wouldn't even count that as I'm saying, like, before and after that, I feel like it's a solid blend. Like, I think you got it right. Like, it looks really nice.
thanks, man.
And shout out to Gil, who,
Yes, big shout out.
you told me that you were shooting it and that he was doing it, and I was like, Gil's been doing video editing for, like, he used to film some of your older stuff like way back when. So I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's got experience. Like, I can't wait to see how it turns out. And I'm glad that it turned out as good as it did. And like you said, you did it all basically. You did it all in one day, didn't you? Like, not the editing part, but like you filmed everything all in
Yeah,
one day, right?
yep, all in one day. I mean, I think we started around like 1 o'clock and got done like just before the evening. So, we did everything within a 4 to 5 hour
Like
span. So,
4 to 5 hours.
we went through it pretty quickly, Yeah, went through it pretty quickly. And I think it was one because I knew what I wanted done. There wasn't anything I was really kind of being like, oh, what do I want to do next? Like, I knew, okay, let me do this, take these shots, do these angles for each of the things, and made sure that, I got every angle that I wanted to, because I figured I'd rather have more angles to play with and not need it in the editing process than be like, crap, I wish I would have done that angle because it would have been great to see here. So I had a lot of different footage from each of the instruments playing, and then when in the editing process, I'm like, all right, which one of these work? Did I play this part good? Did I play that part good? Does this emphasize good here, there? So that was kind of the cool process to kind of just start playing, cut this in, cut that out, and dissecting all that.
So Gil did the filming. Did he edit it or did you edit it?
I edited it. I gave him the first proof of it to just see what he thought, because I wanted him to, do him the honors of at least seeing the first proof. And so he thought everything was pretty well edited. He was saying about the bloopers, and the bloopers were a good edit to it as well. He's like, I thought it was pretty well done. So
Good. Yeah, I knew he was filming. I didn't know if he was doing the editing portion also, or if that was all you kind of thing. So, shout out again. Uh, you know, Gil getting all of the, and like you said, you wanted to make sure you had more content than you needed, rather than, man, I really wish I had that. Like that, having more to work with and not enough to work with is always a better thing, right? Um, yeah, for sure,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah,
For sure.
especially in that, because with the amount of times that I have, I'm like, I have this whole day blocked out to do it. So take advantage of just getting everything and anything you want, because you may not be able to get another full day like this before this comes out. So just get anything and everything in, so then you have, even if you don't use it later, you at least had it, and and maybe you use it for other content later on.
Sure. It's
So
good stuff, bro.
again, guys, thank you very much. The links in the description. I'll give the link to the straight video of the music video, and I'll put the link in so you can stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you guys want to. So I'll give the two links in the description now. Again, share it, comment it. Follow me if you like the music, because there'll be more music coming in the future. So thank you guys for the continued support. Really appreciate it.
Sweet. Do we? I know I mentioned like the teamwork of the basketball thing. Do we want to segue into like the basketball stuff?
Yeah,
I
let's
wanted
get
you
into
to
some basketball real
talk.
quick. Yeah.
I wanted you to talk as much about that as you wanted to. So I don't mean to like cut in or cut you. Like
No, it was good. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's get into the little game 7, because again, we're shooting this on the Monday, now Tuesday, and we both watched the game a little bit. Jim was coming home from a little vacay this past weekend, and uh, you know, you saw the whole game, right? Or did you get home by
I
like some of the
I
game?
I think I missed. I got home like about a half hour in, so I think I missed basically the first quarter, but saw like the rest of the game.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so we pretty much saw about the same, because I think I started watching like mid second quarter. So yeah, so it was a good game. You had told me that Miami was already up by like 12 to 15 points, and they seemed to have kept the lead the whole time. I thought in the third quarter Boston was really trying to start pushing their way in to get really turn the things around. But Miami kept pushing it away, and I think in the fourth was when they really started, pushing away, and they got up into like the 15, the 20. I'm like, all right, I think, and especially, the big thing that we saw was Tatum really hurt his ankle, and I think that really turned the tables for Boston.
yeah, I think the biggest deficit was in the fourth quarter when Heat was up by like 23 or 24 points, and I was just like, I think that's it. And it wasn't fourth quarter with like 11 minutes to go. It was fourth quarter with like 5 minutes to go. So I was like,
yeah.
I think in the third quarter, the Celtics caught up, and I think we're down by only like 6 to 8 points. And I was like, okay, it's a game. Like they could do it. But I think he only made a couple small mistakes, but the Celtics started making like some pretty critical mistakes, like giving up the ball the couple times that they did. And then I think once they were down like 15 to 20 points and there was only 4 minutes left in the game, they just started like throwing three, like even Tatum just started trying for threes, but like missing almost all of them. And it was just like, yeah, they just know it's not a thing. And then I think there was like 2 minutes left, and they pulled all their starters out, and the commentators were like, oh, what's his name? I can't remember. Smith, maybe. I forget.
Oh yeah. I can't. I
No.
forget the commentator's name, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
No. Who's the guy on the Celtics that was wearing the face mask there for a little bit? I don't know. He's like really good. I forget his name, but they were like, yeah, he's out and Tatum's out or Tatum's done and the Celtics are done. Like there was 2 minutes left to play, but they were like, they're pulling their starters because they know there's just no chance.
Even if they're done.
Even if like the guys that the Celtics put in for the last 2 minutes, started sinking 3-pointers, which I think the one did. But once it went back to the Heat ball, like they were just like, okay, shot clock, 22 seconds, run the clock down. And like, there just wasn't a chance to come back from a 15 to 20 point deficit with 2 minutes left. And it was just like, and the people are leaving, like people are walking out of the stadium, like as we speak kind of thing. And I was just like, oh God, that's got to be brutal, to be down, 0-3 in the first 3 games to whoever you're playing in the series and then come back with 3 wins.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
That would have been, they would have made history tonight.
Yeah. Well, and they had home court advantage. And like you said, Boston, winning in Boston is not a thing if you're not Boston, right? Because, the officials like the rule in favor of Boston in the TD Garden, right? But yeah, apparently Tatum hurt his ankle in the first play of the game, and then he was nursing it the whole time. Kudos to him for sticking it out basically the whole game, and just trying his damnedest.
Yeah,
he's still.
Yeah, I mean he knew the. Go ahead.
He still had some really solid plays where I was like, "Gee, Jesus!" Right? Yeah.
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah. Some of the plays I was still like, "Geez, this guy is just something." And he's fairly young still, right? Like I don't see why he won't get a championship win. Like he doesn't have one yet, right? I don't think that he does, unless I'm wrong. Did the Celtics win the finals ever?
I think yeah.
Recently?
Or did they lose to I think they lost to the Warriors last year.
They lost to the Warriors last year.
Who did they lose to last year?
The Warriors.
Yeah, so no, he doesn't have one yet, but he will. I think they'll, they're obviously a good team, so they just came up short tonight, but Tatum's good. I have my things to say against him, but all in all, again, he's a young guy. His stature is really good, and they do have a good stacked team. And also, I'm not sure. I mean, I know we're not really talking Sixers, but yeah.
Their last win was in 2008, so it's been 15 years. So Tatum has not won one with the Celtics.
Paul Pierce. Yeah, that was probably when Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. I think that's when they went on that bender there with those top three stars, and that was a crazy time too with those 3 stars. So, and I think that's when Doc Rivers was playing with them. Well, not playing, but coaching them. Yeah. So 2008. That seems about right when it was at Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett on the team.
That's exactly it. I just Googled it, and it says led by the quote big 3: Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. Holding home court advantage.
And
the Celtics defeated the Lakers. So, yeah.
Wow. That's when Kobe lost to the Celtics, and he was just pissed, that year, because that was one of the years that that was one of his challenges getting through the Celtics that year. So, but yeah, Tatum's definitely got a good career to him. I mean, he could get one. I can see him getting one because you got to give it to Jimmy Buckets too. I mean, he didn't have a star-studded game tonight, but I think everybody else stepped up with him because again, I don't know a lot of people around him too much. I don't remember the names, but they had about 2 or 3 other guys around Jimmy who had 20 plus point games tonight. So they all stepped up.
I don't know all their names either, but I was just watching and it was like the Celtics would throw a 3-pointer. I'd be like, oh, they're going to hit their stride. But then Heat will come back right away and someone will answer it with another 3. And I'm like, oh, never mind. And it was literally like that, like most of the game, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, we said,
Yeah,
we missed the
overall it
first
was a
quarter.
good game.
I don't know who, I don't know, like, if, like, the Heat took the lead in the first quarter and just maintained it, or if it was, like, the Celtics were up a little bit and then the Heat got ahead of them. If it was, like...
I'll have to check that.
Like, I don't know. But by the time we both tuned in the second quarter, it was, like, they were already ahead by, like, at least 10, 12, 15 points. And it's like, okay. And then they just... Cheyenne and I were watching, and she was like, "It doesn't matter because they've came back before and gotten it done." And I was like, "You're right. It's the second quarter. It's early." But then it got to the fourth quarter, and I was just like, "I don't think so." Anyway,
yeah, when they started hitting those threes and pulling away, and then Celtics were, like I said, they were trying to just put up some threes to try to get some type of advantage or some momentum back, and they weren't getting it, and he just kept throwing down the heaters. I'm like, yeah, they're going to start pulling away and this game's over. So little did we know, it was just, it was coming down. I think the people knew in the stadium too that, because everybody in that stadium was standing up. I think once they hit that 20-point lead, everybody sat the hell down. And everybody's like, yeah, we're done. Like,
they panned over. The camera panned to the one guy in the front row. He was sitting there like,
this can't be happening.
And based off my camera angle, it didn't do it justice, but he was just slouched all the way down with his head looking up and just looked like, his dog of 15 years just died or something. Like, he looked miserable. But shout out to Miami Heat. I am always up for the underdog story. So but no matter who won between the Celtics and the Heat, I am pulling for the Nuggets. So because they don't have any championships at all, right? So definitely want them to get that first one, just because, like, us as Eagles fans having no rings, like getting our first Super Bowl win, it's huge. Like, and like because I don't hold any stock in Miami Heat or the Denver Nuggets, given Heat's won before. I mean, they had they had Shaq and did Jordan play for the Heat at one point?
No, he played for the Wizards in his last official season. But yeah, he's always been a Bull, and then when he retired, he was owner of the Wizards, and then he came back 1 or 2 seasons just to play with the Wizards, and then he retired. But again, not many people talk about that Wizards thing because he really didn't put up a lot. I mean, he had a couple good games, but he wasn't like an MJ static, type player there. Right. But he was just, I think he was just playing to like boost up his ego a little bit. But he had a couple, he had a couple highlights in those 1 or 2 seasons, but it's not like he took them to the playoffs and they got like close to a championship. I don't even think they made it into the playoffs either of those years. Right.
Who am I thinking of?
But yeah,
it was probably Shaq with Kobe because they both played on the Lakers together, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I know Shaq wound up playing for the Heat. I thought that there was someone else like super solid with him on the Heat. I just can't remember who it is.
I think it was Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade,
Okay.
and I think was Shaq playing with LeBron at the time? With I think no, I think LeBron came after Shaq left the Heat, and then it was Dwayne Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh who were because that
Mm.
was the three there. I think Shaq may have played with him one season and then left, or he might have left before LeBron went to Miami, and that was that whole big season where he was leaving Cleveland. Everybody wanted to know where he was going in that big press conference. Like everybody waited for him for like a half hour, and his whole like 2 minute speech like, I figure I'm gonna take my talents to the Miami Heat, like, and then cut the camera. Like we waited for this whoopsie 30 minutes for you to make a 2-second appearance.
Okay, so Shaq and LeBron played together in 2009 for Cleveland Cavaliers, but that was when Shaq was on his way out and LeBron was like, just on his way up kind of thing. So they were like at two totally different ends of their careers at that point, right?
Definitely. I do remember Shaq being on the Cavaliers for a season.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think Shaq got moved around a little bit after he left the Lakers. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulties, but we kind of said all we needed to say with the Game 7. One thing I want to say before we get into our last little thing we wanted to talk about, Jim, you did mention that you are rooting for the Nuggets. I am going to be on the other end. I'm hoping Jimmy Butler gets his first championship here too. So this is going to be fun. I am looking forward to a Nuggets win because it'll be their first, but I know Jimmy Butler has been dying for a world championship too. So
see, now
I don't
didn't
think
know that
a sweep on either end. I don't think we're going to get a sweep. So
I didn't know that he hasn't won one yet. Won a championship.
I don't think
yet.
so. I don't think so. So yeah.
I mean, for me, like I said, I don't have any stock in either team. Like, as long as we get some good basketball, which we should, right? It's championships.
Yeah.
And like you said, it won't be a sweep. Like, I think the Sixers, when we played the Lakers in 2001, we got one win out of the 5 games, right? Like I think we got the first game. I think the Sixers won the first game, and everybody thought the Sixers might win this thing, but then they came back, and I think that was the only one they won. Yeah, so it's slightly reminiscent of like us playing the Celtics, and we beat the Celtics in game 1, and we were like, we might actually do this, right? Same kind of thing, right? Same. Yeah. So for me, I'll be happy either way. I won't be like, oh no, I'm bummed the Nuggets didn't win because I was rooting for. Like, I would be happy for Jimmy Butler to get his win because the dude can play. Like, he's really good. So,
yeah, I'm easily going to be happy for either team, but I'm kind of pushing for Butler for this one. Yeah.
All right. So,
last little bit, we wanted to put a little emphasis on the Night of Champions, and I didn't get to watch Night of Champions, but again, at this point, I kind of knew a lot of the results. Jim was able to watch it, and he gave me kind of a little bit of the updates throughout it. So why don't you start us off with a little bit how you thought of Night of Champions?
Yeah. Okay. So I think. Hang on a second here.
Yeah. I know there was a lot that went down, and there was a lot of different scenarios that went. I mean, I knew Rhea was going to squash Natalya. I knew that was a dead end give. We had a belt change on the women's side. I didn't see the outcome all the way coming from the KO and Sammy versus the Roman and Solo. I did not see
Mhm.
that coming, but good ending to the night. I kind of figured Brock was going to beat Cody. I mean, that was kind of easy, but, all in all, I mean, from what you were saying and from what I was reading, it seemed like a pretty decent pay-per-view for most part.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately, I okay. What really grinds my gears is, they're doing when Triple H unveiled the new World Heavyweight Championship title belt. I was not for it at first, and then over time I started getting kind of excited about it. Just because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a new belt and it's cool. Roman is not on SmackDown every week, and he is not losing anytime soon. Clearly, he's been champion for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Almost three. It'll be
Almost.
Well, I think end of August was when he won the Universal belt. End of August in 2020, so 3 years ago. And then obviously he won the WWE Championship belt off Brock last WrestleMania, so that's been over a year that he's held onto that one. So the whole new title thing, they kept hinting that Seth Rollins would be the guy to win it, and I was just like, all right, maybe they're gonna swerve us, this, that, and the other. And then I was just like, nah, Seth is like Triple H's guy. Like Roman is Vince's guy, right? So ultimately, when it came down to Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the belt, I was like, AJ is in his 40s. Like he's going to be wrapping up kind of soon within the next probably 3 to 6 years, I would say. I was like, they don't have any stock in him. He just came off of injury. Like he was out for a while. So I was like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Seth had a little bit of beef about Cody Rhodes, like going off, doing the AEW thing, coming back to WWE. And then he's like being pushed as like the guy. And then he wins the Rumble and gets to go face Roman. And Seth is like, I've been here this whole time, like busting my tail, trying to be the best I can be. And yeah, no, I definitely have like I definitely feel a type of way about it. I won't lie. He's like, I respect Cody for, his talent and his love for what we do, but he definitely, I read that he definitely opened up about that. Like he vocally said that, which like, I understand it. So Seth hits the pedigree and then a stop on AJ Styles and then gets the pin. And then Triple H comes out and hands the belt over to Seth. They went almost 21 minutes in the opening match. I was just perturbed that it was the opening match because I was like, if you want this title to be a big deal, it needs to go on last, right? Like it just doesn't make sense. I was like, the only reason why it's not going last is because they're going to pull a major angle with the tag title match, which I will say tag title matches don't typically main event pay-per-views, right? So the fact that it got the main event night one of WrestleMania, and the fact that it got the main event this show, and you pit the whole Usos come in to try to help out. They accidentally double super kick Solo. Reigns sees it, goes in and makes a stink, and then Jimmy finally pulls the trigger and super kicks Roman twice. So we're setting up for the collapse of the bloodline here, which is it's pretty cool. I'm glad that because they've done so well at this being like a long-term storyline thing here. And I think they need to get if Roman's going to keep the titles for a while longer, they need to get rid of the Usos, let them go off and do their thing. Maybe just have Solo as the enforcer for now, and then they can fall apart.
Yeah.
And then when Roman is finally by himself, that's when he'll wind up losing when he doesn't have the reinforcement, right?
Yep.
Which again,
and I missed that they doubled. I missed the double super kick to Solo, so I didn't know that happened. But I saw
So
obviously the super kick to Roman.
so they went to double super kick. I think either Sammy or KO, and then they ducked out of the way and wound up catching Solo.
Okay.
So
okay. So
that
it wasn't intentional. Gotcha.
yeah, but Roman was on the outside, and then the camera cut to him, and he was just on the outside looking in. Like, he only saw them super kick Solo, and he was not happy, right?
Right.
And I know we're talking about like the main event, and we can run through everything super quick, but they did nice with the storyline payoff in the main event, and Kevin and Sammy didn't win at WrestleMania just to lose the titles 2 months later. Like, I'm glad that they still have them.
I'm glad.
I'm not
too.
I'm not loving it a lot right now, only because it feels like all of the stock is in Sammy and Kevin's just kind of sitting back, and I'm like, this really just feels like Kevin's gonna turn heel on Sammy, which, you know, is eventually going to wind up happening. But
yeah, and then they'll have their fight forever match once again.
Yeah, it's cool that they're trying to make tag team matches important by having them main event. And I think they're trying to put some new tag teams together to try to make tag team wrestling. Like, I know Triple H is adamant about making tag teams an important thing. I think that's why we're getting, factions. It's why we had a tag team main event tonight, which is on Monday Night Raw, which is not, unheard of. But, yeah, I mean, you have, I think Tommaso Ciampa's coming back and soon, and I think we're going to wind up getting him and Johnny Gargano reforming DIY, which is pretty cool.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see that. And then, I mean, they just crowned new women's tag champions tonight on Raw because Liv Morgan's hurt. So they had Raquel. Sorry, they had Raquel pick a partner of choosing, which wound up being Shotzi, which I think she looked not great in the match tonight. Just a couple slip ups, things that didn't make sense here and there. Anyway, I had a pretty good feeling that Ronda and Shayna were going to win those. And you know, the two of them are a credible threat, and they'll keep those titles pretty important until a good women's tag team comes along that everyone can get behind. And root for them to pull them off of Ronda and Shayna for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely seems like they're hinting at a Raquel versus Ronda one-on-one match, which, or wait, has that happened already? I think Raquel faced Charlotte. I'm pretty sure Raquel faced Charlotte once. Any rate, let's get through the rest of this card super quick. Trish, yeah, just I think it was on SmackDown though.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Trish Stratus defeats Becky Lynch. We had Zoe Stark
too.
come out from underneath. Zoe Stark came out from underneath the ring and hit Becky Lynch with her finisher, which is a super cool finisher. She basically backflips the girl, and then upon the flip around, it's the knee to the face. It's a pretty cool finisher. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I like it.
That match went about 15 minutes, a little longer than it needed to, in my opinion. The Seth and AJ match that opened went 21 minutes. I was like kind of tuned in, kind of tuned out, just because I was irritated that the match was going first. And I was like, I think Seth is definitely winning this, which he did. So people are like, it was a stellar match. And I was like, I kind of didn't watch it in full attention. But anyway,
right.
Yeah, Trish and Becky won a little longer than it had to. Gunther defeats Mustafa Ali. That match was really fun. Ali did super well. Gunther continues to just be that guy. Like, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the up and up, man.
He's definitely
next
something.
Match, Asuka defeats Bianca Belair to end Bianca's 400-plus day title reign. She won at last WrestleMania and has had the belt ever since then. I totally did not see this coming. Asuka winds up
I didn't
going.
think she would lose it here.
Asuka goes for the mist to spray in Bianca's face. Bianca ducks out of the way, and then Asuka gets on the outside of the ring, and she takes the remnants of the mist from her mouth, and she like licks her fingers and gets it on her fingers. So Bianca goes for the KOD where she picks her up, and Asuka took her fingers and like wiped it in her eyes. Asuka gets out of it and hits her with a kick, I think, and then winds up pinning her, and that's how that went. So we've got Asuka as the new Raw Women's Champion, which is weird. I think they're both on SmackDown, right? That's still happening, and Rhea is on Raw and still has the SmackDown Women's Champion. I don't know.
Which I think is weird because when they did that the last time, they had the two champions just switch their belts before. So, I mean, why can't they just do that? Or, I just think that's weird. You had to switch the people, but the belts are on the opposite brands, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
But whatever,
it's not that big of a deal.
Right?
It's just
it's all fake.
It's scripted, y'all. Asuka and Bianca went 15 minutes flat. Pretty okay match. I just didn't see Asuka winning, so I was definitely surprised. And then the Rhea Ripley Natalya match, you called it a squash. I didn't think it was going to be this fast. Dominic distracts Natalya. Rhea attacks her from behind. And then Riptide in a minute. 1, 2, 3. The match lasted 1 minute and 10 seconds. So it was quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Natalya is just sticking around because of her name at this point. She's just there to help the upcoming people. She's never not really going to win anything anymore. I'm not trying to say like, oh, she should just retire, because she obviously loves the business. She loves doing what she does, because if she didn't, she would have stopped doing it a long time ago. But you can tell she does it for the business because she loves the business. But to see somebody that has that type of name to just become a person who's being squashed all the time and just not really doing much, it's like, you feel bad for her, because I think she was back then at least a champion before. So, but I think it's just now it's just more, she's just that type of person to be like, okay, well, if all else doesn't matter, just give it to Natalya.
Yeah, it's kind of beat, but I think Natalya it just seems like she probably enjoys traveling. She's been doing it for a long time. It's part of she's from the Hart family, right? The business runs in her blood. So I think she's just kind of like, hey, I'm here to do my job, and tell me what you want me to do. I'll go out there and perform. And, otherwise I'll just continue hanging out with my sister and posting to social media. And I'm like, you can go ahead and do that all you want.
You can do that all you want, yeah.
That being said, Brock Lesnar defeats Cody Rhodes by technical submission. So we knew Cody had the broken arm going into this, right?
Yeah.
So they needed to come up with a way to get Cody to lose but protect him. So Brock put the Kimura lock on him more than once, and he winds up just passing out. So they raise his arm, and it drops, and the ref just calls for the bell, right?
Gotcha.
So as we knew, this was building towards, they're going to have their blow off match. I would say almost likely at SummerSlam, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to wind up getting Cody Rhodes entering the Money in the Bank ladder match like last minute, because his arm's broken still, right? Like, he came out in the sling tonight and gave his speech about Brock and said, open challenge. We need to, he basically said, I beat you once, you beat me once, and we need to finish this. And if you don't accept, it's because you're afraid of me. And I was like, that's so boring, right? I'm like, nobody believes that Brock Lesnar's afraid of Cody Rhodes, okay? So I think that
exactly.
I think Cody's just setting himself up to get beat down even more so. So he's going to enter the Money in the Bank match, and I think you get Brock to just come out and take him out of the match just entirely, right? And then that'll set up for their match at SummerSlam, right? And then
Right.
we basically talked about the ending of we talked about the double kicks to Roman, and then the Usos wind up leaving, and then Roman's out of the ring, and Solo eats a stunner, and then a haluva kicking eats the pin 1, 2, 3, and Sammy and Kevin are still the champions. So that's how that went. All in all, that main event went 26 and a half minutes. So it got its time to be able to do what it needed to do. And yeah, I'd say a good 5 minutes of it were like the Uso interruption and the storyline part. So it had a big payoff for the angle, right? And now they're boasting, Roman's going to have his 1,000 day title reign celebration on SmackDown, which will be tonight once this airs. Obviously, he's going to come out and boast about being the champion for that long, and then he's going to say, but we all know that's not why I'm here, and he's going to probably call the Usos out, or I'm sure plenty of people will be tuning in to see how this moves along now. Yeah, I mean it's compelling storyline telling, which is pretty great. I'm excited to see where it goes from here for sure. Anth, anything else that you want to chat about before we sign off? I know we did a quick recap of Night of Champions. We'll do more Money in the Bank predictions as the qualifying matches round out, and then we see who the entrants into those matches actually are, as well as the rest of the card.
Right. Yeah.
That event is taking place in London, I believe. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. They're doing these huge premium live event matches like internationally, which is a great way to globalize the product. And then they're doing SummerSlam in Detroit, which is curious, but okay, dude, let's give Detroit some love in here too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a summer attraction city, but
right. Yeah, it doesn't seem like somewhere you would think, oh, summer vibes, but obviously they have something for it. So we'll see. But I'll preference one more time if people are listening to us at this point in the podcast, make sure you guys listen to my new single Here and Now. Click the links in the description. You can watch the music video or stream it on any music platform. Any feedback, any shares, adding to your playlist would mean the world to me to get this song out there to as many people as possible. You can hit us up on the One Set Podcast email. You can even hit me up on my music email or follow me on the socials there at Spoken Like Music. Anything will be appreciated. Other than that, do you have anything else to let our followers know?
No. I mean, once this is airing on June 2nd, I am going into my first weekend of recitals for the season, and then followed by next weekend I will have another round of recitals, and then recital season always basically rounds out my year, with the exception of my one show in August that we've talked about a couple times. Once that happens, then it's like after the first week of August, it's kind of like, okay, the rest of August is like rejuvenate time, and then September hits, and like my whole work situation starts all over again. It's like a school teacher. Like that's kind of how my calendar is laid out annually. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to get these recital routines on stage, and embark on summertime, right? Like summer stuff,
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to summer too.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this has been another episode of One Set. We love you all. Thank you all for tuning in with us for another week. Like, follow, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram at One Set Pod. Subscribe to our Patreon for more behind the scenes, bonus content, watch long stuff, and buy some merch, support the pod. We love you all. We'll see you on the next one, guys.
For sure. All the love. Thank you.